Good morning, world. Welcome to Daimler XJ 6 Series 1 Restoration Phase 3. I'm going to call it Phase 3A because today, or this session, we're going to be removing the IRS, the independent rear suspension system, so that we can replace and restore components as necessary, and sort out the rear brakes, handbrake, etc., so the vehicle can be moved. I spent most of this visit making some space in the garage. As you can see, we've had a bit of a change around, so now we've got some working area that we can put things in. A nice big bench there, we can work on the IRS. So over to the Haynes manual, and I'll catch up with you at various intervals throughout the project. Okay, IRS off. I found that the mounting brackets, the rubbers, had deteriorated to the point that I didn't need to undo them. They just fell off the mounting points. Prop shaft came off quite easily, probably due to a slightly leaking oil seal, which kept the bolts fairly lubricated. These radius arm bushes were exceptionally stubborn and refused to come off. I'm going to have to get a bit of heat on those to get them off. Obviously the brake pipe union's sheared off, so new brake pipes required. The overall body condition underneath is really quite good. So the heat shield's all in okay condition. The handbrake cable I had to saw off. I couldn't get the cotter pin out, so it needs a new handbrake cable, which has a bit of corrosion on it in any case. All of these are going to need to be changed. I'll get those off in a minute, well, in a bit. And the IRS itself is in a bit of a sorry state, it has to be said. These bushes are knackered. Doesn't seem to be any play on the stub axles. Although you can get replacements of those when they dry. We end up changing all the UJs. Yeah, it's a bit rusty. Obviously, shocks. Springs going to need to be replaced. The brake calipers have not functioned for some time by the look of them. Again, all these brake pipes are going to have to be replaced. Yeah, so got a bit of work there to do, but at least it's out. And I'll start breaking it down now and get the bits off to the shop blasters and see how we get on. Okay. The strip down process went fairly straightforwardly. Some of the bolts were a bit awkward to get out, not some bolts, but on the whole it was very good. These are the parts that were sent off to the shop blasters, including the frame, all the suspension parts, drive shafts, etc. Obviously the UJ's rubbers were all covered up before they got shot blasted, and this is a picture of all the parts waiting to be reassembled. A lot of the black parts that came back from the powder coating were wax oiled prior to them being reassembled. Hi, we're just about to start the rebuild on the IRS for the XJ Series 1. First thing to do is rebuild the handbrake mechanisms, so I'll do that and show you how I got on. Okay, so everything's been shot blasted, powder coated, painted, new bearings in the hubs, the universal joints in the prop shafts. I've got new ones, but the old ones were in really good condition as the car's only done 37,000 miles. And they seem to be okay, so I've greased them up and they seem to be fine. new pads for the rear discs, new handbrake pads as well. All the nuts and bolts that you see were specifically put together by a company in America for rebuilding E-types. I got them to send me some bolt kits over, nuts and bolt kits over for the IRS and all sorts of other places on the car. New set of shocks and springs, new IRS mounts. So the diff, I haven't actually touched the diff. It seems to be okay. We'll keep fingers crossed on that one. The seal wasn't leaking too much, if at all, so that was fine. The actual cage was shot blasted and powder coated. New discs, obviously. All these bits refurbished. And well, if I couldn't buy new, they were all refurbished. So new return springs for the handbrake mechanisms, new lock top washers, etc, etc. And now we're doing the putting together the brake calipers and the handbrakes. The brake calipers are all reconditioned units, all new, all wax oiled up. Everything's been wax oiled up, nuts and bolts all clean, etc. And those are all the pieces for the handbrake assemblies. So we'll put the handbrake assemblies together on the discs, on the main calipers, and then I'll give you a shout back and let you know how it went. Right, brake calipers, handbrake calipers put together. That was much more difficult than I expected, as per usual. But hey ho, there you go. The most difficult part was getting these cotter pins through these split pins here, because there's a cotter pin goes through that side, goes through this outer shield, goes through the actual one side of the caliper, and then comes out the other side of the caliper, and then has to go into this other side of the shield here, and it's a real pig of a job getting them in. And then once they're in, there's very little clearance to get the cotter pin through, so awkward to say the least. Still done now, so we'll go and start on the IRS. Hi, to conclude, the IRS is now fully rebuilt and ready to go back on the car. I'll just show you what I've been up to and talk you through any bits and pieces as we go along. Okay, there's the finished article. I'll just have a little walk around. It has been quite a job putting this thing together. Simply because it's being restored as it's going along. You know, there's a lot of time spent cleaning, refurbishing, polishing and waxing and preparing items before they go back on, but I'm fairly happy with the finished result. I've tried to retain as many of the original parts as possible, but obviously there's some items that needed replacing. So for example, we have new discs, new handbrake pads, new disc pads, new pins, etc. We've got a new handbrake cable in there. We got all the brake pipes have been replaced with new. Obviously shocks and springs all new, and the wheel bearings were changed. The half shaft universal joints seem to be in really good condition. I did get some new ones, but after consulting with my mechanic friend, we concluded that there was very little, if any, play in the universal joints whatsoever. So we decided in the end to leave them original. We've got new brackets here, we've got new bushes in the radius arms, both inner and outer. What else have we got new? Oh, well, most of the shiny nuts and bolts that you can see are the ones that came from America, from this guy in America. That's about it with the IRS. This is the panel that goes above the IRS in the car. These three little retaining brackets had all rusted off. There was one that was sort of in semi-good condition, so I used it as a template, made 3 new ones, cleaned that up. These screws and washers that hold it in were all a bit rusty, so we've got replacement screws and washers to go in there. Restuck the sponge on the back of it. I'm in the process of preparing the underside now. It's been scraped off, de-rusted, treated, schultzed. Now I'm just waiting for the schultz to go off a little bit before I put on the final coat of black wax oil over the entire area, and then we can put the shield back in and put the IRS back in. So there you go, one completely rebuilt IRS. Hopefully we don't have any problems, and it's all good, and I'll give you another little update when it's back in place.